to my PD peeps, feeling alright. Parkinson's warriors shining so bright, sharing their stories, ready to fight. My PD peeps.
Hey guys, what is shaking? This is Tim from My PD Party, welcoming you to the first ever edition of the My PD Peeps pod, where we're going to discuss Parkinson's Warriors' journeys, what works for them, what doesn't, help each other a little bit, and just learn some stories, learn a little bit about each other. When I first decided I wanted to do this, there was absolutely nobody else that I could have thought of that I wanted to ask to be on the first episode. I will try and get through this without tearing up, I promise. She is the most amazing person. She has done so much for me. She's opened doors for me in this community, and I will never ever forget that she was the first person to ever reach out for me when I felt alone in this community, and that goes a long way because that's what this community is all about. I had the pleasure of hanging with her for a little bit in New York with her caregiver and wonderful husband Mike. She has two beautiful kids, Ava and Bobby, and the most important part of the family is probably our online mascot Beans, which a lot of people, I don't think the world can move on with their life in the morning until they have coffee and they know what's going on with Beans. So if you've been living under a rock and you don't know who this young lady is, I call her Allie, Miss Allie Signorelli. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Tim Walker, you're so cute. Okay, first of all, last night I recorded a story and I was like, do we think we've had enough Bean content? And so a bunch of people wrote me back and were like, we're only here for Bean. That's the only reason we're here. But don't stop or we're out. Bean's in charge of the whole.
Everybody loves Beans. Listen, I know from talking to you, being friends with you, you have sat down with some leading doctors, scientists, celebrities. So I promise this will probably be the most unprofessional podcast you've ever done.
And that's why I'm here. By the way, you're the only one I've said yes to this summer. That sounds obnoxious, but I decided to take most of the summer off because I just felt completely burned out. So that's how much I love you right back. That I was like,
thank you.
I'll put on makeup for you. Why not?
Well, I mean, listen, what are you really doing? Hero of Advocacy Award with the Fox MVP, a big plan of the national part of the past Parkinson's plan. I mean, really, do you have any free time on your hands? I mean, what are you doing these days?
It's been a crazy journey. I don't know that I could have envisioned that this would literally become my full-time gig after I had to give up my quote unquote real job. I was doing fundraising actually for Alzheimer's, as you know, I think you know, and had a bunch of really cool clients in the brain health space, doing really amazing events all across the country. But it just got to be so much that I was having trouble keeping up to the standards for which I had set for myself and for my clients. And I just knew it was time to take a break. So after that, of course, because I can't literally and figuratively sit still, I started doing
I have a seatbelt on.
Yeah, exactly. Started doing this advocacy work, and it's just kind of grown and grown and grown. And I think I've said this before, and I give a little opening talk when I host the Fox Foundation's PDIQ. But in many ways, I feel like I was sort of made for this moment, like in my life. Like everything I did career-wise led to me being in this role. Being a brain health advocate and then getting your own brain health disease. I think I was uniquely prepared to know what to do pretty much from the moment I was diagnosed. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a great roller coaster, but it's been nice to have some downtime this summer too.
But I will tell you, for all the work that you put in, and as tiring as it probably gets, and exhausting as exhausted as you probably are, I had the pleasure of being with you when you won that Hero of Advocacy Award in the city, and I got to tell you, I teared up as much as you. I could tell, and you were not expecting that.
No.
And it was amazing to watch your reaction and to the love that the room showed you was absolutely amazing.
You know what's crazy, Tim, is that first of all, I had no idea. They kept it a secret from me, which was amazing. But I also sort of feel like I've always been on the flip side, right? Like I was the people putting on that kind of event and pointing out who the heroes of advocacy were, or making sure they felt recognized. And so to be on the flip side of it is such a surreal experience. I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Even that night I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, I don't deserve a Hero of Advocacy award. It just felt very surreal. But I think all of us, any of us, just want to feel appreciated and loved for the work that we do, for the humans that we are. And so then when there's like a whole room full of people cheering for you, like it was very, very overwhelming, but
I'm
really,
sure.
really appreciated.
Well, listen, tell me. Let's get off the non-celebrity side of Allie. Give me a brief little story about your Parkinson's journey as far as how it started,
Yeah.
symptoms, what age you were. I mean, some of the difficulties you had to deal with.
Yeah, 7 years ago this summer, and you'll appreciate this reference because you're a soccer dad too. I was sitting at Ava's high school soccer tryouts. So she was in club soccer. She had played soccer her whole life. We had traveled all across the country. I was well equipped to sit in the stands and watch, as I always did. And it was like sitting on the face of the sun in Washington, D.C. that summer. It was so hot, and we're in Arlington, but I was sitting outside watching her try out for high school varsity, and there was this twitch in my ankle that had been there off and on, maybe for about 6 months at that point. And I really didn't attribute it to very much. I thought, oh, well, it's just like, when you get like a muscle twitch in your eye and it just doesn't go away
You
for
don't
a
think
couple of
anything of
days.
it.
Yeah, it just didn't really bother me, except that at that point I was like, huh, this has been a long time. Like 6 months is a long time. And so I mentioned it to Mike, who you just alluded to as my husband, and also have known since I was 3 years old because,
He's a great man.
yeah, he's a great guy. We grew up together in Jersey. Um, and I mentioned it to him, and he was like, yeah, you should talk to your doctor about that because that's been a while. It's been too long. And I still didn't even mention it to her until my annual physical that fall. So it was almost a year. And she did, I really love her. So if she ever were to see this, I wouldn't want her to think I'm bashing her. But she did the typical, well, you're probably stressed and it's anxiety and you're working too much and da 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 da. Try potassium, try this, try that. And so because she didn't think it was a big deal, I didn't think it was a big deal. I kind of just kept moving on. But then it started to slowly creep. My big toe on that side, on my right side, started doing this thing we called thumper. Um, and so that was 2018, all the way through 2019. It continued. It started to become a hand tremor at some point. I don't really remember when, but at some point it became a hand tremor. And then I was like, okay, I need to like calm down, work less. And then it was 2020.
Well, because your thoughts start going with you too, and that's not helping
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, and I did notice that the more anxious I was, the more anxiety I felt, the worse
Yeah,
it was. So then I
sure.
was like, okay, well, that just proves her point, right? Like it's caused by anxiety. But then 2020 came and it was like all hell broke loose for the whole globe. And I was working literally on my laptop all day long from 13, 14, 15-hour days trying to keep my clients raising money in a time when nobody was giving money and
It's hard.
keep the kids alive and keep
Yeah,
the house running. And Mike
the
was
little
working.
things.
Yeah, it was just the little things. And so I kind of put it off for that whole year of 2020. Um, but by the end of 2020, I was in full blown Parkinson's syndrome. So up and down my right side, I was having trouble walking. I was having trouble typing. I couldn't function really, truly. And so I quit my full time. I was a freelance consultant, but I had one client that was full time. I quit. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is my moment. I'm going to be Zen. Now I'm going to be calm. Everything's going to be fine, which of course with Parkinson's, it just doesn't work that way. So as we know, so 2021 to 2022, it didn't get better. And yeah, so by 2022, I finally went back to a neurologist I had been seeing for a while, and he had me do the clinical exam that we've all done that looks similar to field sobriety tests. Um, and he left me in the room for a long, long time. And I thought, okay, something's wrong. Like he's never disappeared. And I
Yeah.
started to think that maybe he had forgotten I was there and I was gonna like
You hope he's not in the back Googling.
exactly. I kind of thought maybe I was gonna be on the
What does
news.
she have?
Exactly. Like they forgot I was in there. And he came back in and he had this young associate with him. And I was like, that's weird. And it was like out of a movie. He had his mask. We were still masked at that time. He took off his mask and he looked at me and he was like, I think I know what it is. And I was like, okay, great. It's been
Yeah.
like, I had been seeing him for 2 years. It had been 4 years at that point that I was having symptoms. He was like, I think it's Parkinson's disease. And I literally, literally was the first time he had ever said that word. I think I had Googled it a couple times, and I remember in a text telling my sister I thought I had that, and she laughed. We both laughed. She was like, I think that's like
I've been there.
yeah, what like old people get, you know. But when he said it, when my neurologist said it, it was like whack. Like I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble.
You bring up an interesting point. I've never really, I thought about it a little bit, and I'm going to go off the cuff here. I'm going to ask you if you've ever thought about this, only because your timeline kind of matches mine. I've worked my whole life, every day since I'm 13. You have to wonder around the pandemic time when people stopped working and stopped moving as much.
Mhm.
All of us, I wonder what the studies would show if there was an increase in people that started showing Parkinsonian type symptoms then,
Yeah.
because you're kind of out of the rat race at that point, you know?
And I think that, people ask me all the time, or I get comments online all the time, like, do I think it was caused by COVID or do I think it was caused by the vaccine? No, I don't. I had symptoms well before
Yeah.
the pandemic, but
I
I
don't
do
mean
know,
caused by it, but I'm just saying that the
yeah,
stagnant part of it.
exacerbated for sure.
Yeah.
And actually, I remember shortly after I was diagnosed, I can't remember what article I saw. It might have been one of Dr. Oken's, but there was a huge incidence rate or prevalence rate of Parkinson's and neurodegenerative diseases after the 1918 flu epidemic. And they weren't necessarily correlated clinically, I don't think, or biology wise,
Okay.
biologically. I was a music major, by the way, so I'm gonna get all these words wrong. But
We'll get into that later.
um, but there have been other pandemics that have had the rate of neurodegenerative diseases rise after them. So surely, I mean, we all know that environmental and lifestyle factors contribute to Parkinson's. That's undeniable. So for sure, the stress that I felt in the pandemic years trying to keep everything
Yeah,
going absolutely accelerated my symptoms. I have
I'm sure.
no question about that.
Now, what would you say when you first got diagnosed? Um, Obviously, everything is shock. I mean, I was in shock. I probably still am to some degree on certain days. What was the hardest thing mentally that you had to come to grips with, or that you had the hardest time getting over after being diagnosed?
100% my family and what it would do to them. 100%. I've never really been the kind of person that feared disease or death or physical ailment or disability. None of that stuff really ever bothers me when it comes to me. Like I feel like no matter what it is, I will be able to overcome it. I have a mom who makes me look like a complete and total wimp. She is the strongest human being I've ever met in terms of, especially on all levels, but especially health levels. And she has Crohn's disease. She had been sick my whole entire life. She was super, super strong. And so I had a role model that showed me how basically you can overcome almost anything. So it never really occurred to me to be worried about my own physicality or my own future. But I was devastated for what I knew it may still do to Mike as my primary caregiver and to my kids. So that sucked. Luckily, I had a really great therapist. I still have a same great therapist, and she really helped me work through all of that stuff. But yeah, I would say that was for sure the hardest part.
And I'll tell you the truth, something that we had drinks that night, and I spoke with Mike privately, and I said to him, I said, "What is the hardest thing? Like, how do you, as a caregiver, what is the hardest thing?" He said, "Honestly, it's not hard." And he said something that struck with me, and I'll always remember it. He said, "I let her dictate the day." He said, based off the mood she's in, how she feels, he goes, listen, if she doesn't feel good, we accommodate and we adjust. If she wants to run around and go crazy, we hop on a plane and we go, arrange our daughter's college bedroom, I mean, and that to me, like, he's willing to adapt and adjust on the fly like that. And that's a good man. That's a,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
mean,
good husband and
listen,
a good caregiver.
I've said this before and I'll say it till the day I die. I do not deserve this human in my life. I spotted him when we were 3 years old. I reconnected with him when we were in eighth grade. And I was like, you're mine. We're not going away.
So this
Yeah,
all started over a hubba bubba at recess.
yes, he is unnaturally patient. And he just knows me better than anyone on the planet, obviously. And so he knows when there are days when I'm down or when I need picking up. He just always miraculously knows what to say. I worry that that's also like that's a sort of reported or under acknowledged part of being a caregiver is the emotional support that people with diseases need, in addition to supporting themselves. And he's a huge support for our kids. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. There's not a lot of physical care giving for me at this point. I'm pretty
Mental.
physically strong, and my symptoms are well managed, but I think emotionally it's been a journey for him for sure.
Well, I think you both lucked out. You both found some pretty awesome people. Um, as far as, you just said physically, you're still pretty good. What do you attribute that to? I mean, what kind of did you have a rough trial as far as finding the right meds or supplements or dieting, anything that you put in your body? What
Yeah.
did you find worked for you?
I think partly because I was in such bad shape because it took me so long to get diagnosed that when I finally was diagnosed and got on, it did take me a little while to get the right meds. I ended up switching movement disorder specialists about 6 months after I was diagnosed, and he changed my entire protocol. Um, And once I got the right level of meds, I started feeling, at least for the first year after I was diagnosed, maybe even a year and a half, I didn't have any symptoms at all. I mean, I felt like completely back to normal. I had no off time.
Mhm.
My meds seamlessly transitioned from one to the next. I felt great. I was in great shape. I lost a ton of weight. I got running again. I literally felt like a younger, stronger version of
Mhm.
myself than before I was diagnosed. I would say over the last year or so, we're sliding backwards down the hill, is how I like to describe it. We've tweaked the meds a little bit. We've tried to extend the on time. So I definitely have more noticeable symptoms at times. I still feel pretty good, but I do think I'll have to shift again in the fall when I see my MDS because I have a lot of tremor time. And
Sure.
you probably have this too. I know a lot of Parkinson's people do, like diagnosable or unspecific pain. Like I have
Yeah.
random pain in my forearm and my elbow. And I think it's partly because my tremor is on that side and I'm like constantly, flexing.
Yeah.
But my arm hurts all the time. My foot hurts a lot. So like just that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
sometimes I have issues walking. If I miss a dose or if I'm like even an hour late on a dose, I am a hot mess. I was on
Yeah.
a plane coming back from a family wedding last fall, and I forgot to pack my pills in my
Yeah.
carry-on. By the time we got to baggage claim, I couldn't even walk. So it's there, as we all know. It's just lurking hidden beneath the meds at this point.
And then I get a lot of it with rigidity, like you said, the stiffness. I guess that's where it comes in from. Are you on Crexont? Did you try, or have any
No, I'm
experience with that?
I'm just on carbidopa, levodopa,
Okay.
cinnamate. I take it it's like I don't really know what the numbers are, but I think it's 25 and 100, and I take 2 pills 4 times a day. And then I do take the extended release of that. I think it
Okay.
might be called Crexant, overnight.
Okay.
And then my MDS also added entacapone, which is like meant to extend
Extended.
your period of how long it works, because he wanted to try that before adding another dose of carbidopa. But yeah, I think I've still got some room to go in terms of how much I take and how often. But it's a pain in the ass, It's like I feel like I'm popping pills every 10 minutes. It's just like,
I
not a
know.
fan.
I agree. It's definitely trying most of the day. Anything about diet that you found works with you, or does not work with you?
You know what's interesting? I would love to say that I like started eating better on my own, but I will say that I think the meds really squashed my
Yeah,
appetite in those early years.
I know.
So as much as I'd like to take credit for like rehabbing my Oreo habit, I haven't. I still love Oreos. I
That's
feel
all
like
right.
part of it is that I'm just not nearly as hungry anymore because the meds make me sort of nauseous
Yeah.
at times. But I did start working out a lot more. I've sort of fallen off the wagon, but I'm getting back to it now. I ran a half marathon that first year after I was diagnosed, so
Mhm.
I definitely put myself back on the movement track, and I feel a lot better when I work out. It's
Well,
just
you just
motivation
said
stuff.
you just said before that you feel yourself sliding down the hill a little bit. Don't forget, a hill is meant to be climbed too. So
Yeah, it's true.
you're going to be just fine. You've been
You
there
know what
before.
I feel like? You remember on The Price is Right? Is it The Price is Right?
Yeah, the
That
Hody,
little
Hody,
like do do
Hody.
do 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 do. Yeah, like I literally am like we all are. We're like on that little like yodel hill.
It's that we don't want a car, we want a cure.
Yes. Hey.
So let me ask you this, and a lot of people have an issue with when I put something out like this. There has to be something in your life that is a blessing that you only have as a result of Parkinson's, or something that you realize, or like for me, I just think maybe thinking about my own mortality and how short life could be has really changed me. And not that I was a bad person, but it's opened my eyes a lot and it's made me a better person and a more caring person. Um, I know it shouldn't have taken Parkinson's to do that, but it did. That's one of the things. I mean, is there something that sticks out with you that, like where one day you just said, damn, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't have Parkinson's?
Honestly, my entire life changed because of Parkinson's. And I hate to say this because I know people are like, well, just wait, it's going to get so bad. And I'm not naive, but my whole life has changed for the better since I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And it's been seven years since it started showing up in my life. It's been almost 3 since I knew what it actually was. But I am more patient, although I was not patient this morning before I got on this podcast. So forgiveness is needed for my rant.
When I asked you to be on this podcast, I clearly caught you during an off time. Otherwise, you probably would have never done
it. No. It was just because, whatever. Teenagers are messy. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But I am much more patient. I am much more present. I really used to be the kind of person that was like, especially as an event planner, my whole world was geared towards what's next. Like, what's next? What's the next event? What's the next trip? What's the next whatever holiday? I love just the day to day. Like I wish I could say that I knew how it switched. I don't know. I just love a mundane. It just happened. I have a new perspective. I have a new outlook. Even in the last year, just don't give a crap what anyone thinks about me.
It changes your viewpoint.
My viewpoint has changed. My outlook has changed. All of that is good. My mission has changed. I love doing this work, this advocacy work, not even just for myself, but like knowing how many people it matters to and it impacts. The more people you meet that are harmed and just devastated by a disease like this one, or ALS, or Alzheimer's, or Huntington's, or MS, or whatever, the more it propels me forward to make change. And I love it. I could do this work for the rest of my life. I also feel like I now get to set my own life agenda and schedule, and that is a true privilege that I know not everybody has in this space. I am ridiculously lucky that I have a husband who still works and provides and allows me to do this advocacy work, which frankly costs me money. It doesn't make me money. And that he was like, go for it, just do it, knowing that meant like our finances changed when I quit my job. And so, yeah, everything has been in many ways better. It's not to say that life is easy. Like, damn well, this disease sucks and it hurts and it's awful, but I have changed myself in every way. And I would say the cherry on top of all of that is the people I've met, and I too will not cry. You will not make me cry. But you and so many others that I've just grown to love, and I would never have known had this not happened. My relationship with the entire Fox team, like I know it sounds ridiculous, but I literally know like half of the people now that work for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and I love them all. I literally love them all. So
we walked into that MVP gala together. You were like, you would have thought Mrs. Michael J. Fox walked in the room, like everybody stops.
Like family. And it's not even just them. Like the Parkinson's Foundation, their team too. Like there's so many good and amazing people in this space that I never would have known had I not been diagnosed. So I know it's not a gift. I know that's a really hard word for a lot of people who are suffering. And like I said, I know that not everybody is in the position I'm in. People are struggling financially, physically, emotionally. They're losing jobs, they're losing family members. I get it. If I were on the outside looking in at me, I'd be like, oh my God, shut up. Like, give me a break. But I am committed to using all of that privilege and all of the platform that I have for everybody else. So, I'm just going to keep going.
Well, you bring me to a question that I'm not going to be able to ask everybody, but you're the perfect person to ask because you are so good at it, the advocacy and all the work that you do. And I'll be honest with you, and I've told this before, you inspire me to do that. I mean, this page of mine all started in a dark moment where I didn't know how to get out of my own grave, so to speak. And, people like you, the first person, were there to help me, give me a hand. And it all just started with, you feel alone with Parkinson's. And I said, maybe I can make a page where if I can make one person laugh every day, I wish they would do that to me. And it goes on and on, but I see the work that you do, and it's truly inspired me. And like I've said to you off the air, I'm at the point now where I'm doing work with the Fox Foundation. I'm trying to deal with government officials and make a change. And it is truly amazing the work that you do. And it's inspired me. Like, you're kind of like my mentor in a sense. So my question to you would be, for somebody who's looking into the work that you do, or just advocating, even if it's not at the level that you do it at, give them some advice. Where's the first place to start?
So advocating is just storytelling. That's it. That's all it is. And I think it's a big fancy word that scares people. And I think that, like I said, I did this as a career for 10 years, and I truly learned from the best. I mean, I had the kind of examples to follow that are like going down in the record books as some of the most incredible neurodegenerative advocates in history. So that's how I said at the beginning, like, I was uniquely prepared for this moment. But my Instagram and my storytelling is just that. I just tell my day. I just tell my story. And if some people relate to that, great. If they don't, swipe on, scroll on.
That's the catch. You make people feel like they're not alone. At least to me, that's what we all do.
That's what I look for when I'm looking for stuff to follow on the internet, and that's actually why I started that page. I had a private Instagram page. I started the public one because I couldn't find anyone else that had Parkinson's that looked like me on first glance. Now, they were all there. It took me a while to find them, but that's how I built that community. Just looking for people who were younger, who were facing this, or who had the same sort of intent to make change. Not everybody wants to advocate. Not everybody wants to make change. People are just trying to survive. They don't have the wherewithal or the capacity or the interest in doing the work. And I don't blame them at all. Like, you can just survive, like, do it,
Do you?
I feel like, if you're prepared and you're able-bodied or able emotionally to do the work, then take the baton and run. You do not need permission from me, from anyone else, from anyone in this space. I always say the best way to get involved, the way I got involved with the Fox Foundation, was to go to a couple of events. I think that's the easiest way. Or, like you did, create your own event. The Team Fox, which is the grassroots portion of the foundation, allows you to set up fundraising pages and do events and get into them in a much bigger way probably than you even intended. But
they're amazing, by the way. They're the best out there. Nobody's better.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't work. I mean, I do get compensated for flying all around the country. They pay for my travel to go to PDIQ. So I'll be totally transparent about that, but I don't work for them. Like, I just love them. I think that they're doing the hard work, and I'm happy to be associated with them. So
it's amazing. So I wanted to do a couple of little unique things before we close this out. I wanted to add a little spice to this, add a little fun and game, something that we could all kind of get involved in. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to shake things up with what's called a rapid fire round, where I'm just going to ask you quick questions. Give me 1 or 2 word answers. Probably going to be a little less than 10 of them.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Only because you're from New Jersey, you're going to get a couple of different ones. Bon Jovi or Bruce?
Oof. That's like Sophie's choice. I would have said Bon Jovi when I was growing up, but now Bruce.
Turnpike or the Parkway?
Oh, these are impossible. I mean, we are Turnpike people, Route 10.
Pork roll or tail ham?
Exit 10.
All right. Pork roll or tail ham?
Oof. Can I be honest with you? I never had either of those. Those were not part of the Northern New Jersey thing. We had sausage, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel. Like,
okay. So I know you have a Canadian background.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, is it Canadian A or is it New Jersey A?
It's definitely a Jersey A or a Moron.
There you go. Mets or Yankees?
Ooh, Yankees. Duh.
All right. We'll get into the series.
I don't know what's going to happen with our Yankees. Not until the Dodgers. Not until
until somebody loses money, an owner loses money in California somewhere.
Exactly. We're done. We're done.
So I know with Parkinson's, a lot of times you feel alone, even in a major space with a lot of people. Stranded on a desert island, what's your favorite artist, one album that you could bring with you?
Oh, wow. Favorite artist, one album. The album that I listened to, and well, it would probably be a Broadway album. It would probably have to be Hamilton, just because I know every single word and it would keep me occupied on a stranded island because I could do literally every part by myself in
Yeah, I was going to
forever.
say, I was going to bring you singing at an ice cream shop.
Yes, he was lately. I literally think I could sing Hamilton until on a deserted island by myself forever. So I'll go with Hamilton. I
Favorite
know every
movie,
word.
favorite movie or show?
Ooh, favorite movie. My favorite movie, Sense and Sensibility, which is random. I know the Hugh Grant, Emma Thompson version. I've watched that a gajillion times. Right now, Love Island. Ooh, it's good.
Right. Favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. Probably if I could pick any food at all time, it would be chicken wings. It's so sad,
What
but
kind of
true.
sauce?
Like it's my
Barbecue,
go-to.
barbecue,
No,
honey
buffalo.
mustard. But all
Buffalo,
right,
buffalo.
and maybe the hardest one. You can only pick one person to be on that desert island with you. Who's it going to be?
Oh,
Who's your foxhole person?
oh, I mean, it's got to be Mike, but then I'm going to be in so much trouble with Ava, with Bobby, and with Bean,
Listen, I
and
think
my
mine is
mom.
Mike.
Yeah, got to be Mikey.
All right, so now we're going to close things out. I'm going to call two truths and a tremor. You're going to tell me three things about Allie. One of them is going to be a lie, and you're going to tell me off the air the answer because I want people to guess and I want us to start interacting with our other Parkinson's warriors online. So tell me three things in any order, and one of them is a lie, which we'll
Okay,
call our tremor.
okay. I was almost recently cast opposite of Harrison Ford on Shrinking. That's one. I was almost in Starlight Express, the very infamous roller skating Broadway rock and roll show. And I trying to think of one other thing that would be remotely interesting. I am in the process of writing a book, and I'll
Very
let you guess
interesting.
which one is a lie.
Well, I don't know because you're the amazing Allie. You could do anything. I'm going to say well, don't tell us the answer,
Okay,
but
I won't.
I'll guess off the air. Listen, it has been. I'm surprised. I don't have to do a lot of editing here. I don't think I messed up that much. I'm
Edit
shocking
out because of my
myself.
giggling.
It's the levodopa pills I'm popping when you're not looking.
No,
So listen, this has
or
been so
maybe.
much fun. It has been such an honor to talk to you. I cannot wait to see you in Washington and have a couple of laughs. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, it's been an honor. And what I will say to everybody, this has been the first ever My PD Peeps podcast. Until we talk again, stay moving, stay laughing, and stay connected. Thank you so much, Allie, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.